over the type of logic today that's known as branch logic. And what branch logic is valuable for is when we want to not just skip a few questions like display or skip logic, but we'd like to skip entire blocks themselves. We want everything inside the branch to be seen only if the participants meet the condition for the branch. And so using the same example question as display or skip logic, please specify your current phase of the immigration process. I would like to make it so anybody who answers that they're a U.S. citizen born or granted will only see questions appropriate to that population, which are comprised of several blocks. And if they do the default answer, any one of these would mean that they're currently in the immigration process, and I would like for them to see their own particular blocks pertaining to the immigration process. And so I just did 3 example blocks that the current immigrants should see here, and then 3 example blocks of questions that the U.S. citizens should only be able to see. And then this is the block that everybody should see, just as a demonstration of that concept. And so I'd like to click on Survey Flow in the left navigation. And I have these all set up in advance so you can see what it looks like. Depending on the question to this, where are you in the current immigration process? If they select not applicable U.S. citizen, we stack the blocks if they select not applicable U.S. citizen is not selected, then the only other choice is they're in the immigration process. And so then we put the question blocks for current immigrants underneath the then branch in that case. Now, if they are a current U.S. citizen, born or granted, if that's selected in that question, then we put the blocks of questions for U.S. citizens under that then branch. And I'm going to go ahead and quickly show you how to set those up, the mechanics of it. And simply click on Add a New Element. And I would like the first element to be a branch element. And I'm going to scoot it up under the determining question. And actually I'm going to create another branch element too here because we want 2 different branches. So it doesn't hurt to just go ahead and set those up. Okay. Now the first branch, click on Add a Condition. And it's going to be based on the answer to the immigrant process question. So I'm going to keep question in there. Select the question. These are all your questions that you can select from that you've created. And the one I'm going to select is please specify your phase of the immigration process. If the choice to that question is U.S. citizen, born or granted, if that is selected, then they will see a block or series of blocks. In this case, question block 1, 2, 3 for U.S. citizen. If they answered U.S. citizen, born or granted, if that's selected, then they'll be the only ones who can see the U.S. citizen question blocks. Add a condition to the second branch, and this is going to be same question. Please specify your phase of the immigration process. Select choice. And this time, instead of selecting all of these, I can still select not applicable U.S. citizen and say, if that's not selected, well, that would mean that they chose one of the immigration in process choices. And so they should see, add a new element here, the blocks that pertain to immigrant status. They should be able to see those and answer those. Okay, so this is all set up. I'm going to click apply. Don't forget to hit apply or you could lose your changes. And go back and take a look at what we have. It's good to test it out. I'm going to click on do a global preview of the survey. Okay, so here's the initial question that determines which branch route that is going to be taken. Please specify your current phase of the immigration process. I'm going to select as if I'm a U.S. citizen, born or granted, so I should just see the U.S. citizen questions. Good. As a U.S. citizen, have you ever tried to enlist in the armed forces? So this is a question that I created meant only for the U.S. citizens. So how many times of your life have you voted for a U.S. primary election? As a U.S. citizen, do you intend to vote in this upcoming election? So those are the 3 ones that I designed just for the U.S. citizen. So this is a pass. How do you feel about the current U.S. administration, regardless of if you are a U.S. citizen or an immigrant? We didn't build this into those 2 branches. This, we wanted them to see whether or not they're a U.S. citizen, regardless of how they answered that question. So this is correct. Okay, I'm going to restart the survey and test as if I'm an immigrant in process, and going to select one of these for asylum granted. And you can even use this if you want to speed it up, ignore validation and just skip through. But I'm just going to, for the sake of pacing, just show you. And then I felt very supported. That's also an immigrant question. And this is the final one. So this is passing. We're seeing just the immigrant blocks. And then this is the block that everybody sees. Okay, great. So our logic passed. So I'm going to go back to the start of the survey, or I'm going to go back to the survey design interface. Another thing that you can do with these that's very valuable, another thing you can do with branch logic that's incredibly valuable is to exit participants out of it if the survey doesn't apply to them. For example, say you wanted to just take anybody who is a green card holder in particular, and if for whatever reason you don't need the input of the green card holder for your survey, you can just politely exit them out of the survey. You don't spend their time or yours on the survey because they're not a qualifying participant. So let's go ahead and try to do that. What I'm going to do is add a new element here, and I'm going to add a branch, and then move the branch up. And I want to put it before these 2 because I want to vet them out before they get funneled into one of these branches. So same, add a condition and same question. Please specify where you are in the immigration process. Now this time, if they are, what did we say? let's say there we just want anybody we want anybody in the immigration process or U.S. citizenship. The only input we don't need is anybody who's a green card holder for whatever reason. So if that's selected, then we go right to a polite end of survey. And we can customize that default end of survey message. This is all correct. Okay. And so they will just be taken to the end of survey. They should not see any of these. They shouldn't even see the ones that specify your, for the immigrants. They will be taken right to the end of the survey. They'll be skipped out. So let's go ahead and test that. Yep, save the changes. Let's do a global preview. You can use this type of logic if, another example would be how old are you? Well, if they're not, and you had a survey that's talking about the drinking, like drinking experience as an adult or of legal age, you can say, are you under 18? If they say, yes, I am under 18, then you take them to the end of the survey. So let's go ahead and test the logic as we have it. Green card applicant, or did I say green card holder? Okay, green card holder, that's it. And that went right to the end of survey. And just for proof of concept, let's try another immigrant process applicant. Okay, good. And so this went right to the immigrant branch. And so that's branch logic. And the next video I will be doing is on embedded logic, or branch logic with embedded data. Thank you.